Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 7 in our FTB Oceanblock modded Minecraft series. Today, we are going to get started with Industrial Foregoing, which is a mod that does a lot of technical stuff. But what we're after... Oops, let's see, I need to put... Industrial Foregoing, there we go. We are after a couple specific things. We want to get plants, and we want to get animals, and we want to get... So here we have mobs, and we want to get the mob farming part of it. Oh, here we go, up top. We use what we need. So we got the animal rancher we're going to use. Hydroponic bed is new. I don't know about that one. We might try it out. But the plant gatherer and sower, I'm definitely going to be using. The mob crusher and the mob slaughter factory are all things we're going to be using today. So we needed some space to build an area for it. So I expanded our island a little bit. Can't quite tell it yet, but I have put a cobblestone floor down going out. Oh, let me put my diving suit back on. So I went all the way out to the edge of the claim chunks that I have. And you can see that's our original island. This goes out here. I plan on doing some terraforming around the edges to make it look more like an expanded island there rather than just a big square, but this is the area that is chunk loaded. And so that's what I did. I started putting dirt down here under the water, and then I will have, that basically gives me a solid place to build on. This side, I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to do this, because right now my dock with my boats is inside the chunks, and I think I want it that way. So I may bring this out a little bit and make it wrap around and make it look like there's a little inlet here. We'll see. But in order to do all this expansion, I've done a little bit of a quality of life improvement down here in our storage. We go through here. I set this up. We have cobblestone generators, tier 3, and then hammers set up that are set up very specific ways so that underneath the stairs we are making cobblestone. So this is filling back up after I used the entire drawer full. We're making gravel, we're making dirt, and we're making sand. And this is also, I can grab stacks when I need to use them for building. In the future, I'm going to set it up so that I have smelters that automatically take sand and turn it into glass and put it in this drawer, and automatically cook up cobblestone and turn it into stone here. And then we'll continue expanding our storage here. I'm trying hard to keep all of our storage setups connected to a drawer controller so that when we do switch to refined storage, we can just connect external storages to the drawer controllers and make it as simple as possible to access all of our inventories without having to move them all around. So I'm going to get some stuff set up here before we get started, but the idea is that I want to do some fields like this one. I'm going to expand them out this way as part of our island over this section, and then I want to build a building for our industrial foregoing for our other machines, mainly our mob farm that we're going to be building, and that's what this area over here is for. I'm going to build a section for that. It's going to take a little time because I got to figure out exactly the layout I want with the water. I'm considering making it so that there's a little bit of a inlet of water that comes from our dock lagoon area and is like almost a river that cuts through our island. But we'll see how much I want to expand the island and how much I get into that. So I'm going to get a few things together, and then we'll get started with industrial foregoing. Just like every other mod, there is a first step you got to take when it comes to industrial foregoing. And in the case of industrial foregoing, that is with a fluid extractor. So a fluid extractor is a block that is used to create latex. Latex is used to make plastics, which is the building block of industrial foregoing. So the way that the fluid extractor works is it takes logs and it breaks them down slowly into latex. And it can do that with power, but it can do it without power too. So power makes it go faster, but if we're just getting started, then we can just place logs in front of fluid extractors and get things going. But if we use different logs, we get different amounts of latex. So you can see you have 4 millibuckets per 12 ticks production here. These are all 2, 3, 2, and 1. So dark oak would be a good option. The best option, though, is acacia logs. So to get acacia saplings, the easiest way is to sluice for them. So we just have to run some dirt through an iron mesh with water. And that'll get us all the different saplings, basically. And cotton seeds, but we don't really need those anymore. So what I did is I just set up a little manual sluice here. So this has water running over from our other line. It's just got a hopper that we can feed into and a chest for the output. So I'm just going to take a few stacks of dirt. And once we put our mesh in, dirt will start sluicing and we'll start getting saplings in here for different things. We also will get mineral saplings, which is the beginning of integrated dynamics. We're not getting into that today, but we will in the future. And so that's really nice to get. So, and it's nice to have all the different saplings for different options to have wood to build with. It'll actually make things a little more decorative around here. But if you look, we already got our first acacia sapling. Let's take a little nap. And so I'll set up a pot with acacia trees growing, but the botany pots are very slow for the most part anyway when it comes to trees. So we'll just grab a few here just to get more saplings to begin with, and that will allow us to have some extra wood to get started here, because our main goal is to get our first bucket of latex. And that is because another industrial foregoing machine that we need to do, is a latex processor. So the latex processing unit takes latex and turns it into tiny dry rubber, which is then turned into dry rubber, which is then turned into plastic sheets. The plastic is used in the construction of pretty much every other machine and upgrade in industrial foregoing. So getting this system set up from the get-go is our first priority. So I'm going to get a bunch of acacia wood, and then we're going to start with setting up an automated system for making latex and plastic. So for right now, I want to put my latex production right in this corner, even though it's kind of cramped and I have lots of other space. And it's because I need water for the latex. And this seems like a good spot to do it. So basically, the way this works is a fluid extractor pulls latex out of a log, and you can use more than one fluid extractor. So the best way to do it is to set them up so that they are facing, there's 4 of them facing into the log. And I don't remember exactly, oh yeah, good. This is how it works. If you put it down, it faces away from you. So we're going to put it like this. Okay, so this machine does take power, and it has a fluid tank, and it has some other options like redstone. But if you look at the show working area, you can see each of these is just the one block right in front of it. So if we take a log, place it down, you'll see the log slowly starts to break. And then in each of these tanks, every time it goes through a process, we get 4 millibuckets of latex. So what I'm going to do is take fluid pipes. That's going to be an issue. Let me see, where is my pipe wrench? I believe that I can disconnect these using that. Let's check and see. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So we're going to want, and do I have any more? We're going to need to make a couple more fluid pipes real quick. So fluid pipes are redstone iron buckets. So we need to go to our backpack that is in our inventory, grab some redstone, grab some iron, grab a couple buckets. We'll make a couple more buckets. And then let's craft just 2 sets of these. That'll be plenty for now. That means we still have our 2 buckets for use later. Okay. So now we have all the pipes set up there. I need to click on them. Shift right click to pull out on the top of each of these machines. And then I made a tank. So now you can see we are starting to store latex in this tank. We need to get to the point where we have 1 bucket full of latex, and we can use that to make our latex processor. Latex processing unit uses 1 bucket of water, 1 bucket of latex, iron, redstone, furnace, and then a pity machine frame, which we can craft. So let's grab, while we're over here, we'll grab this. We'll have to come back to get a bucket of latex once it's ready. Halfway there already, going pretty quick. So the pity machine frame, we're going to need some cast iron, redstone blocks, and wood. We already have all that stuff on us. Let's craft that. So then the only thing we still need is a furnace and a bucket of latex. So we'll pull this all out. Craft a furnace. And then now we just need to wait until this is ready with a bucket. I believe each log will give us about 1 bucket. So it's a little more than halfway through the log, which means it's almost at a bucket. So I'll come back once I have a bucket and we can get this placed down and show you how the latex processing unit works. Hooked up some power to our fluid extractors and in no time had enough latex to make our latex processing unit. So the latex processing unit we are going to put right here. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I do the side configs, we can pull from the top and our latex is filling in. Now we can take one of these pipes, and if we put, I want to disconnect that. That's fine. And then we can go like this, and then we can go to our water. It's already set up because they're all set to on. I want to disable all of them except for the right one. And we'll set this one to pool. So now we have latex coming in, we have water coming in, we have power, because I already ran the power under there in anticipation of the fact that we were going to be running it there, placing it there. And so now we have tiny dry rubber being produced. The tiny dry rubber is used to make dry rubber. So what I want to get next, I think I have everything in my inventory I need for it. We're going to do a compacting drawer, which means I need 2 pistons. So all I need is the smooth stone. Well, stone now they call it. It was smooth stone for the longest time. I'm never going to get used to that. And compacting drawer. And so if we go here and put that right here, and we go into our latex processing unit, and we go output, I'm going to disable all of them. But the front, I'm going to put on push. So now, oh, it's not going to let me. Nope. Okay. Well, that's fine. It's not going to let me compact them. I guess that's because my guess, I'll have to test this, but my guess is that's because dry rubber cannot be turned back into tiny dry rubber, which means it can't be done in, oh, this one's empty. Perfect. Cannot be done in the compacting drawer, because to be used in a compacting drawer, you need to be able to turn it from one back into the other. So let's grab this. We don't need it. But so now we can sit here, and as long as there's logs there, it will continue to provide us with tiny dry rubber. And so let's go check this out and see if I was right. So when we take the tiny dry rubber and we turn it into rubber, or dry rubber, yeah, that can't be turned back. That's why the compacting drawer doesn't work. And that's fine. It's not that hard to grab them and change them before we cook them. So the next thing we want to do with this setup is we want to do a block placer. And Industrial Foregoing has one. It requires 4 plastic sheets and then 3 droppers, all easy stuff to make. But so what this is going to be used for is to set up a system that will place the logs in for us. Let me see if I can get under here. We may need to work out. I need to have this open, which means I'm going to need to run power. This on this side, and probably over on this side is where I'll put the power cables. We'll see, but the block placer is going to end up going right there. And then we will stock it up full of acacia logs, and it will do its thing as long as we need it to. But in order to do that, we need 4 plastic sheets, which means we already have 1, so we need 3 more. That's 27 dry rubber, and we only have 9 right now. So we're just going to have to let this keep on processing its stuff through here and wait until we have enough to do it. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of stuff done using our plastic, which, by the way, is still producing just fine. We have several stacks of plastic available to us, and it's still processing our acacia logs just fine. I haven't even refilled it at all, and we're doing great. I expanded out a little bit here to make an area for our tree farm, and I'm not quite finished with it, but I've done a lot to figure out exactly how I want to do it, so I'm going to show you how it all works. So underneath each of these saplings, let me see if I can get this one to break without being an issue. It's already trying to replant. So I have a plant sower that plants each sapling. And if you look for these trees, it's 1 by 1. So I just have that one spot available. And so what I did is I made it so that there was only that spot available on the ground. Everything else is surrounded with cobblestone. Probably going to remove all the dirt except for places where I'm planting the trees. So I set up a similar thing for all the 1x1 trees that we want to do. And then let's put a torch here so we have some extra light. We'll work out the lighting and the decoration in a little while. To do the 2x2 trees was a little more complicated. But so all we did is, let's see if I can figure out how to get that in there easily. What we did is made an upgrade, and we used the dissolution chamber to make the upgrades. So for our the tree farms, I just wanted to add one, so I did it with cobblestone, and for the gatherer I needed to use emeralds. That makes it 12x12. And so what that, oh, I want to be in here. So what that does is it makes it so that this planter, the one that I was doing my 2x2 dark oak trees, has the add-on range tier 1. And so when we go back up here and look, now that I turned on the working area, we can see that it has an area of 3x3 that it can go. When you put in an add-on, it adds 1 in all directions. So it was a 1x1, now it's 3x3. But because I have this set up to plant, where it's planting on these cobblestone blocks and the dirt, it's effectively only planting a 2x2 because it can't plant the saplings into the cobblestone. Now the plant gatherer here is set up with the 12x12 upgrade, which means its range is the entire field here. And so it slowly goes through and finds everything that it can plant. And then as soon as it cuts down the trees replant the saplings. The way that the sowers get their new saplings is using these item pipes. And so I have, let me get in here, these. I have an item pipe set up from here where I have a advanced pipe upgrade that is filtering all the different saplings that I'm currently planting. And so one thing to note is that when you're using this destination filter destination tool, you have to make sure you're clicking on the side of the block where the pipe is connecting. When I was doing it at first, I was just clicking the block and I was clicking on the back. And so it was confused and it didn't see a filter on the bottom of that block. And so it was just putting in any saplings it wanted. It took me quite a while to figure out what I was doing wrong. But so each of these pipes is filtered. So only the saplings that I have allowed to go through can go through, and they automatically get pulled out of the drawer controller. So any saplings that are in this drawer go through. So if I put birch saplings in here, you can see they're immediately taken out and put into the next system. So it's a little bit complicated, but we got it figured out. So now automatically, whenever one of these trees is grown, and it'll just grow on its own, it won't need me up here to grow it, but once it's grown, it takes a little time for the plant gatherer to get around the field, but when it finds it, it cuts everything down. A few saplings will fall that it misses, but mostly it grabs them all and it automatically replants. Pretty simple. I'm working out spaces over here to add in both spruce 2x2s, jungles 2x2s, and then I'm also going to do the mineral trees. I'm going to have to figure out how those work and make that work, and then I'm going to put in the slime saplings in the back row so that we can automatically grow all of them. Now as far as the items getting collected, this plant gatherer collects all the items from the trees. It also collects sludge. I have an item pipe that runs into the drawer controller and puts it into the drawer wall. So once I make space for sticks and apples and logs, all of this will get emptied out and it'll be fine. The sludge, I'm just going to set up a fluid pipe that goes into a tank, and then the excess will be dumped out and vented into a trash can. That way we can just have it keep running. We'll store some sludge in case we want to use it for something later. I don't even know what it does at this point, but I don't ever throw anything away. You'll always find a use for stuff. So that's how this is all going to work. I'll finish up the rest of that tree farm before or in between episodes, because it's all basically just repeating the same things now, just figuring out the different ways that different saplings grow. I don't have many other saplings that I want to worry about. I have some ones from Better End Forge, but I don't even know what they are, so I'm not even worried about them right now. But so the other ones I'm going to set up are the mineral and the 3 slime saplings I have, plus the rest of the vanillas. So that'll keep us stocked with all the wood we need for quite a while. Next episode, what I'm going to work on is making a mob farm, because I want to get into flux networks so that we can do wireless power, but that requires ender pearls. And once I get some ender pearls, I probably will set it up to grow more, but the mob farm will get us lots of other things too, so I figured we'd get into that first. Then we're going to get into refined storage. Now that we have several different drawer walls that we're building, I want to be able to connect them all together and then have one central location where I can see everything that I have and set up the auto crafting that I want to do. As far as the industrial foregoing for the plant gatherers, other than the tree farm that I'm finishing, I'm going to also add in a farm for all of our crops. So we have the vanilla crops, and then we also have the crops from thermal cultivation. I think it is. I can spell. Oh, more type. So I have all these different crops here that we can grow, and then we can use them to make different types of food. And then we have the vanilla crops. And then eventually we will get into setting up the mystical agriculture crops, which are all the different seeds for all the different essences, like diamond essences and emerald essences and ender pearl essences, so that we can grow resources on our fields. So I'm probably going to have this set up. I'll just repeat this same field setup 3 times, and I'll have one for mystical agriculture, the tree farm, and then one for our vanilla crops and our thermal crops. And then that way we will be able to grow all the things that we want to grow in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. That's kind of where we're at for today and where we're going to be going in the future. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.